Jonathan here at TopSaw. Today's video I'm going to compare the two different weed eaters, the FS91R from Stihl and the FS131. So these are two, I love them both, but there's some pretty substantial differences. So in today's video I'm going to compare these two different weed eaters. Okay, here we go. Let's compare these two weed eaters. Just out the gate, I'll give you the most obvious differences. They're both pretty new. The FS91R is, I think, 1 year old, and that FS131 I just bought a month or two ago. They are both 4-strokes, even though they run 2-stroke in their gas. They kind of have the same heads, which is really nice. They both have interchangeable bump heads, which is kind of the best way to go. They both run up to 105 line. One big difference is the 131 comes with those bull horns or bicycle handlebars, and the 91 does not. This just has a shoulder strap right here, and then this one comes with a backpack that pivots, and this thing is a great system. Okay, before I go on a little bit more about these two different weed eaters, let me just say a little bit about safety. I always bring a bucket with me with all my parts in it and line, and I fill that up with water just so I keep it close to me in case there's even the smallest spark. And I never weed eat on hot dry days, and if it is going to be hot, I do it first thing in the morning when the humidity is really high. Always glasses and ear protection, and then I use these things and pull. Safety first. So the FS131 comes with this backpack strap that's actually really comfortable, pretty well padded. Not only is it a lot better than a shoulder strap because it sits so nice, it has that big plate for the thing to pivot on, but it gives you a really big radius. When you look at this one compared to the shoulder strap on the 91, they look similar where they stay, but for some reason, this one gives me at least a 6-foot, 7-foot radius of where I'm standing. So I don't know if it's my arms up high on those bullhorn or bicycle bars, but it pivots right around me perfectly, versus the shoulder strap seems to really pivot a lot less. So here's the FS91. Here's the shoulder strap. Up over my head. It does give me a little bit of a kink in my back after a while because it's pulling unevenly on my back, but more than anything, it really seems like the radius is a lot less. I'm not too sure why that is. I don't know if the strap moves it around a lot, but it doesn't seem to rotate quite the same way. It's great for edging lawns or something small though. Okay, here I am with the FS131 getting started here. I have that full backpack on. It is really heavy duty buckle. This is actually first use, I think, or within the first little bit of getting this thing. And you can see how new it is, but I've had it a year now. And none of these pieces have broken at all or worn out. That guard piece on my hip right there is really nice. It really gives me a much better pivot around with the weed eater. The 131 does have a really nice starting mechanism. It has that guarded choke lever that you turn on, primer bulb that needs a few primes, and it pops up really quick. I don't even have my foot on the housing to pull it hard here, and it fires right up. But the 91 fires up just as quickly and easily. You'd think with a higher level of horsepower on the 131 would be harder to pull, but the pulling on it seems basically the same. So this kind of standard weed eating we do here in California, pretty tall grass on steep slopes, and you could see it just cutting it with no trouble at all. Bump head, same as the 91. One nice thing between the two weed eaters is they have the exact same cutting attachment, so they have the exact same bump heads on both. And the same cutter, so they're interchangeable, and they both take the 105 thousandths of an inch diameter line, which is really nice, especially on kind of rocky hills like this. Anything less than the 105 really doesn't last very long. It just keeps breaking when you hit rocks. Right there, what I'm doing is adjusting those handlebars, and those are adjustable on site, and there are no tools for those adjustments. So you can see how quickly that thing really knocks it down and gets it done. So this is the new FS131. Just ran out of line, which is nice since they preloaded it with super lightweight round line. So here's my new line. This is 105. It also has square edges on it, which really cut grass much better. Take about 5 arm lengths. 1, 2, right there. Find the 2 ends. Cut it in the middle. Cut it at an angle. And then it goes in here. Let's see if you can see that. It goes in these holes right here. And then it goes backwards on itself. Really key not to get a bite on it. Meaning that it doesn't lay down on itself, it just lays flat. Kind of going back and forth. Extra couple minutes spooling it correctly here will save you plenty of time out in the field. And it locks into that point right there. So there it is. And here's the second one. Right in there. Back against itself. No bites on the line. Lock it in right there. And here's the head. Sneak it under. Now I can pull it out of here, pop it into either one. Here we go. Pull these tight so it pops out. I'll trim them off. This little wire here cuts them. But I like cutting them by hand so they don't wing a ding. Alright, let's go. So I got that new line put in, the 105 square, and here's a little more weed eaten in some other little bit different terrain. This grass is dried out. There's some small little vines and blackberries, tons of sharp things to break that line, but that 105 is holding up well. You can see how big it is, the radius that I'm swinging through. So that's a really nice part of this 131. Alright, this is me with the FS91R and another guy with the FS131 on the opposite side of the drive. Stay tuned to the end because he'll also give you his opinion on the 2 different weed eaters. His opinion is actually a little different than mine, but stay tuned to the end to hear his opinion. So I got the camera on a tripod. This is time lapse 5:1. Again, I'm in the yellow shirt on the left with the FS91R, and then on the right of the drive is the FS131. Maybe not the best angle, but you could see that the 91R does a great job, but the amount of angle I turn through is a little bit less. It's pretty irregular ground down in the drainage ditch, up on the hill. And on the right side is kind of just down the hill, but on the right side the grass is a little bit heavier. Okay, so just some of the specs on these two different weed eaters by Stihl. The FS91R, again in the yellow shirt, is 28.4 cubic centimeters, which is about 1.73 cubic inches. And that's comparing it to the FS131, which is substantially larger at 36.3 cubic centimeters or 2.2 cubic inches. I switched angles there, so the 91R again is on the right now that I put the camera down below. We're working our way towards it. It's a pretty substantial cubic centimeter difference. On the 131, it puts out 1.4 kilowatts of power compared to the 91's 0.95 kilowatts of power. So it's almost 50% more power with almost identical weight. The 91R weighs 12.1 pounds and the 131 weighs 12.8 pounds. So even though it has 50% more power, it really weighs almost the same. We just swapped sides so you could see the comparison in the different types of grass. So the yellow is a 91R and in the gray shirt is a 131. So you could tell that on that left side the 131 was going a fair bit faster. Now that we swapped sides of the driveway, you'll see how quickly that 131 will catch up to the 91R. Both of the weed eaters hold 24 ounces of fuel, but in the 131 you're burning fuel faster. They both have identical cutting systems, the same bump heads. They both have a 16.5 swath, meaning without moving it at all, it'll go 16.5 inches wide. They both have reduced emissions. They have the same spark arrestor systems, which are key, so you don't start a fire. The one thing the 131 does have that's pretty cool is it has the IntelliCarb, which measures air pressure on both sides of the air filter and adjusts the carb accordingly. So, I mean, you could just clean your air filter, but if you don't, that's a nice feature in the 131. All right, so that's it. The FS91R and the FS131 kind of comparison. They're both beautiful machines. They're both 4 strokes, even though you add mix into the fuel. The ones with the bull horns like that is on the 131. And then the 91, I would say is really a top-end homeowner one. And then the 131 is really a commercial one. The problem with nice tools is once you start using good ones, it's always hard to go back to the old one. So if you got the money, without a doubt, I get the 131. Nobody's ever complained about getting too nice of a tool, but everybody always complains about getting not nice enough of a tool. What are your takes on it? What are your take on it after the two?
So I would say the 131 is only worth it if you're doing big lots or big property, like with a wide range, because the best part about it is you could get such a wide berth on it. But if you're just trimming up like a lawn or trimming up the sides of something, I'd still go with the one, or the 91 is still a really nice weed eater, but it just doesn't have the range and width that 131 does.
Oh, that's a good take. The 2 opinions there, that's good. So this is TopSaw, all things wood, from tree work to woodwork. If you like the video, hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you want notifications. If you have either of these weed eaters, we'd like to hear your comments below. Let me know what you think. Put them together here.